Welcome everybody to Convoluted. My name is Jesse, and today is the third man ever to be on the FBI's top 10 most wanted list. And that man was Raymond Nesbit.
Fugitive, one of their top 10 most wanted fugitives.
The man who landed on the FBI's most wanted list. One of the FBI's top 10 fugitives.
The most wanted list nearly 6
to the FBI's 10 most wanted.
According to the Encyclopedia of the FBI's 10 most wanted list, over 50 years of convicts, robbers, terrorists, and other rogues by Dwayne Swierczynski. William Nesbit was born in Marshalltown, Iowa on June 1st, 1899. William Nesbit's end was due to a few teenagers who saw his picture in a local newspaper. The boys grew suspicious. They had met this man who was living in a cave off the Mississippi River in Minnesota by St. Paul, I believe, and they actually ended up smoking him out of the cave. After smoking Nesbit out, the boys confirmed what they thought they saw in that newspaper to be true, and they went straight to the authorities. William Nesbit was apprehended on March 18, 1950, the first man to be apprehended since the release of the formalized 10 most wanted list. And here is why he was on that list to begin with. New Year's Eve, 1936. A man named Floyd Parker and his girlfriend Helen Sealer, they were both shot and left in a powder house, and shortly after that there was an explosion caused by tons of dynamite and black powder. Now I did notice a little bit of conflicting resources here, but a couple of my sources did say that it was a man named Harold Baker and not Floyd Parker. And according to that same book, the Encyclopedia of the FBI's 10 most wanted list, it was about 3,500 pounds of dynamite and 7,000 pounds of black powder. So it's safe to say that explosion was massive, and people heard it from as far away as 50 miles. It also happened to shatter glass in downtown Sioux Falls, South Dakota, about 5 miles away, which ended up being worth about $20,000 in 1936 money and damage, so quite a bit. $20,000 today would be worth roughly $400,000 to $500,000, so quite a lot of money. And of course, people did panic, and suspicions fell on a Lee Bradley, Harry Reeves, and William Raymond Nesbit because of their involvement in a previous $37,000 jewel robbery in Iowa. According to murderpedia.org, Nesbit was arrested in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma on February 26, 1937, and he was convicted on May 28, 1937. So the details about who pulled the trigger for the two victims and who lit the fuse to cause the explosion seems to be up to debate a bit, but according to allocation.com, Helen Sealer wasn't dead when they left. Somehow she was able to get out of the building before it exploded, and she went to the police, naturally. The three men were captured because of this, and William Nesbit received life, which later was commuted to 20. Getting commuted to 20 was not good enough for him. So Mr. Nesbit in 1946 escaped South Dakota State Penitentiary. According to historydaily.org, William Nesbit was kind of buddies with the warden, and the warden gave him special privileges to run errands for the prison. According to murderpedia.org, they also referred to it as Nesbit being the warden's chauffeur. He would then use the vehicles provided for those errands, and he fled. In 1950, when the FBI formalized their top 10 list, Nesbit was added on. And that cave I mentioned earlier, Nesbit stayed in that cave for about 4 months near St. Paul. That was actually formerly used by a brewery. So it actually had like some wooden flooring. It had some, minor amenities such as like a cot and a stove and probably some other stuff. And somehow he was maintaining getting food and water. Remember the teenagers I mentioned in the beginning? Well, those boys, they kind of became friends with Nesbit, thinking he was just like some bum living in the cave. So they actually gave him some items. And like I said earlier, after one of the teenagers grew suspicious due to a wanted section in the newspaper, probably an FBI's top 10 ad, that's when they decided to go smoke Nesbit out by plugging the exposed stovepipe with snow. And as we know, Minnesota has plenty of snow. So those boys, they actually kind of went the equivalent of viral in their time, of course, and they even received messages from J. Edgar Hoover and a trip to DC to meet the FBI director. And Nesbit was found guilty of escape, and he served 3 more years before being paroled, which I don't fully understand, because didn't he have a longer sentence before he escaped? The double murder occurred in 1936. Even if he was apprehended the next hour, he was given life, then down to 20. He escaped prison 10 years after the crime, and he was captured in 1950. So even if he served out the full 20 years, it would have been 1956 when he was released, right? Am I doing the math right? So how did he escape his 20-year sentence, get recaptured, and still serve less than 20 years? I don't know. Maybe I'm lost. Maybe the resources are mixed up, but that's what I gathered, and it seems a little odd. That is William Raymond Nesbit, the third man ever to be on the FBI's top 10 most wanted list.